Hello from the United States. I'm talking to you from the room in my home where I keep souvenirs of my trips to Taiwan. Your teacher has asked me to tell you about American clothing. This is a hard subject to tell you about. There are many things that are the same about the clothing Americans and people in Taiwan wear, but there are some differences too. Because America is so big, the clothing people wear is sometimes different in different parts of the country. And of course, clothing is different for different jobs or activities. I'll try to help you understand what you should wear at different times and places in America. The clothing American college students wear is a lot like what you wear, but I think more casual. Here is a group of my students. I took this picture in January when the weather was cold outside. You can see that my students usually wear jeans. The men often wear t-shirts. The women wear t-shirts or other blouses, like this, but sometimes they wear sweatpants or other very informal clothing. When the weather is warm, my students often wear shorts to class. It's fashionable right now for men's shorts to be baggy, usually reaching the knees. Women's shorts are usually shorter and not as baggy. If the weather is cool, my students may also wear heavier shirts. Here, a college student wears sweatpants and a sweatshirt with a zipper. This is one of my students wearing a heavier shirt on a cool day. And here's a group of my students on a very warm day. This is how they dressed for class, and they were surprised to receive some awards. In college, students mainly wear what is comfortable. Many people in America have jobs in which they do manual labor, or they work outside, or have jobs in which their clothing can get dirty. So they wear a kind of clothing we call work clothing, or work clothes. When the weather is warm, this could also be jeans and a t-shirt. When it's cooler, men and women in these jobs may wear long-sleeve button-up shirts made of flannel. Here are some workmen indoors. Workers who work outside in the winter dress very warmly in a kind of single-piece clothing we call a coverall. The name means cover all of their bodies. Here's a workman wearing a coverall. And here's another workman who wears orange outdoors, so he's visible to people driving cars. People who work in offices dress differently depending on the culture of the office. This means that a business or office may have its own rules about what can or cannot be worn. Regular business clothing is formal. Men wear a suit that includes trousers and a jacket that match, a buttoned long-sleeve shirt and a necktie, like you see me wearing. Women also wear suits that include a skirt or slacks, a blouse, and a jacket. Now, when you're at your desk, you can take the jacket off, but put it back on if you go anywhere away from your coworkers. Some offices allow an informal kind of clothing that we call business casual. This means that men and women may wear casual pants, but not jeans, and more informal shirts or blouses. People wearing business casual often wear polo shirts and the company logo on the chest. Here are some of my students kind of clowning around at a recent event. Most of them were dressed business casual and a few regular business. Can you tell the difference? You can see that I'm now wearing a polo shirt with an organization insignia on it. The goal of business casual clothing is to look informal but still professional. Now, sometimes you may find an office in which all of the workers wear plain casual clothing, jeans and t-shirts or other very casual clothing, just as if they were at school or with friends. There's no easy way to tell before you visit what clothing you should wear in any given office, Most employers expect people applying for professional jobs to dress in regular business clothing with the full suit and everything. This gives you a professional image, even if people working in the office wear business casual clothing most of the time. Sometimes we say that if your employer requires you to visit another business, you should dress 10% better than you expect them to be wearing, but not more than 10%. If you have business with someone who always wears jeans, maybe you should wear business casual. If you're calling on someone who wears business casual, maybe you should wear a full suit. If the person you're calling on wears a suit, be sure your suit is very neat and very good looking. This way you show that you're professional and that you take your visit to their office seriously. But if you dress too much better than the person you're visiting, like wearing a suit to visit someone who wears jeans in the office, they may not be as receptive to you. Knowing what clothing to wear can be confusing. I sometimes have to ask what the right clothing will be for a particular place or event, and most people are not offended if you ask this. Sometimes people go to a very formal event, like a ceremonial dinner or an elegant dance. For this kind of event, you should dress even more formally than regular business wear. Men wear a special kind of suit called a tuxedo. Here's a picture of me in a tuxedo on my wedding day in 1998. For short, we call this a tux. A tux is really an elegant suit with a fancy shirt and matching jacket and trousers. A tux is usually black with a black tie, and we call such very formal events black tie events. I think that people wear black ties because ties with bright colors are not considered to be serious enough for a very formal event. We wear a different kind of tie with a tux called a bow tie. Now, I don't own a tux. I rented the one that I wore for my wedding. So I can't show you what I look like today wearing a tux, but you can see that right now I am wearing a bow tie. I don't even know how to tie this kind of tie. This is kind of a fake tie that just sort of fastens on there. I don't really have to tie it. At black tie events, women wear long gowns like this, or women may wear a shorter dress called a cocktail dress like this. What women wear and how long their skirts are depends on fashion and local custom. Sometimes the special event is a dance. In high schools, one of the most important events of the year is a dance called the prom. Prom is short for the word promenade, which literally means to walk. Here is a typical group of people getting ready to attend a prom. You see the boys are wearing tuxes and the girls are in long dresses. Here's another group of students who attended a high school dance in my town. Now, because this dance is both formal and fun, there's more color in the boys' tuxedos. You'll also see that the colors in their tuxedos match the colors their girlfriends are wearing. One important difference between clothing in the United States and in Taiwan is the sizes. I'm sure you recognize this beautiful traditional clothing item that some students from Taiwan gave me. Now, in America, I would usually wear a size that we call extra large or XL. But in order for this to fit me, the Taiwanese size had to be extra, extra, extra large. My wife thought that was pretty funny. There's no one kind of traditional clothing in the United States. This is because people came here from many, many different places. The Native Americans have been here for thousands of years, and they have their traditional clothing. The Hawaiian people have their traditional clothing that they use in ceremonies. But people have also come to the United States from all over Europe and Africa and Asia, and from each region they bring their own traditional clothing with them. They don't wear the traditional clothing every day, but they enjoy it for special events that celebrate their heritage. I hope you've enjoyed this look at clothing in the United States.